And then again, just a little bit, their success is your success.
That's fair. Okay, so then, all right, so let me take that same approach.
Okay.
I'll be like a devil's advocate. I hate that term, but so Starbucks, before Starbucks really started off, I mean, they were essentially just a coffee bean retailer.
Yep.
At least if I remember the story correctly. And then essentially, what was his name? Howard Schultz? Is that his name?
think so.
Yeah. Oh, it's not it?
I think
Oh,
you're right.
okay.
Yeah.
And then he went to over, to Italy or somewhere in Europe and basically saw the whole coffee culture that it wasn't just selling bags of beans and retailing. It was the culture of actually sitting down and drinking, ready to drink.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then he came back and started that. And then, so really a good chunk of that is, a good chunk of the coffee culture that we have now is in thanks to Starbucks. Which I know,
agree.
Yeah.
I was actually going to mention that earlier
It's
because
crazy.
so many coffee shops would not have the blueprint,
Right.
and I know that's a coffee shop, but they
Yeah.
wouldn't have the blueprint
That's good.
to be successful without Starbucks.
Yeah.
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 Scooters is a drive-through,
Right.
different, and Seven Brew. If I don't know if you've seen a Seven Brew,
yeah.
oh
Branson,
my gosh,
you-
it's like a Chick-fil-A
Good
for
or-
coffee.
Really?
I haven't
In a
had
good
it.
way.
So I went to Decatur because I was scouting.
Okay, right.
And I saw a new Seven Brew, so I actually got pictures of the inside of it. They have 2 4-head Lamazocos.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Wait. Two.
2 4-head,
Yeah, for group head.
yeah, 4
Wow.
group heads,
So-
Lamazocos.
And that's not a super automatic. That's a manual espresso.
It's
machine.
manual, yeah.
Man, and that's Seven Brew.
Yeah,
Well,
2 of them. There's
yeah,
one on
2
each
of them.
side.
Wow. That's so okay. I mean, and so I went there, and obviously every time I see a coffee shop, I gotta stop by,
Oh,
especially
yeah.
in other new towns.
Yeah,
And I mean, I don't have anything bad to say about it. I can't remember. Which maybe that says something, but I can't remember my experience being like anything.
it's not a wow experience.
Yeah, but at the same time, it doesn't. I mean,
It's not a bad experience.
Right, yeah,
It's
because
just kind of,
Yes.
it's a coffee.
Yeah.
It's good. I
know-
drink it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And I know I know Scooters and Seven Brew and some other places have energy drinks, like Red Bull or other stuff.
That's another avenue for us. So we actually have
Interesting.
Lotus. So we're a Lotus
Yeah.
distributor.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Lotus has actually
Story.
won
Yeah.
the last 4 coffee fests. They've got like alternative drink or so.
Yeah.
And they're actually out of Utah.
Okay.
And actually Verona. I just met with them the other day in Collinsville. So that's another. So they're going to start carrying. I don't put it out there before they do, but
Yeah.
they're going to start carrying Lotus through us as well too. So that's the avenue that I wanted to. So we are green, we are roasted,
Yeah.
we are we're barbecue, we're spirits with Old Harold, we are Lotus because so many times, and that's what I try to pitch with people. You may not use us as a roaster, but I have another opportunity because you need people to come in your door.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't drink coffee. So when we were just at Fresh Time in Fairview Heights on Saturday. I don't drink coffee. You hear it all the time.
Oh,
Would you like
yeah.
trash coffee? So all I do is I just go, here,
Yeah.
smell this. They're like, oh my God. I said, do you barbecue? Oh man, I love to barbecue.
Yeah.
But I said, smell this. And they're like, you know what? Yeah, I'll take a bottle. So, I mean, again, I mentioned it earlier before we were talking that Fresh Time in Fairview had a full shelf. And they had, by the time we left 4 hours later, they had a half shelf of each. They sold half of what they had, their stock.
Yeah. And
So-
so it just kind of took that push. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You just got to get, again, squeeze a bag. All I have to do is Germania, see right here, label. Pretty cool. So
Yeah, that's
first,
very cool.
nobody's ever even seen this except today.
awesome.
Just made it today.
Let's go.
But squeeze the bag and tell the story. So the stories,
Yeah.
with Bruno's dad and his grandpa and true farm to cup. The only
Yeah.
other, and I'm sure they're out there, but the only other coffee shop, and I've kind of researched a little bit. Funny thing about that is, we had a green coffee delivery come in. So green coffee for a little bit, say last year, was having a lot of high mold content. So then the FDA was actually going out inspecting Lowe's.
Wow.
So we had the FDA come in, and we had to hold it. Couldn't move any product till they came and checked it.
Wow.
So she pulled 20 samples from 20 different bags. And craziest thing too, one of those, I say it's not out, it's God moments.
Right.
So this lady's really tall,
Yeah.
and dark hair and kind of an accent. I didn't quite catch it at first. Well, Bruno's son Gabe was working, and he was born in Brazil as well too. And their son Mookie was born in Brazil. But Gabe was working there, and this lady went by him. She's from Brazil, so she was an
Wow.
FDA agent from Brazil checking our load at Minas Espresso, and she started speaking Portuguese, which is the hardest language ever to learn. I'm still trying to learn. It's very hard, so
Gotcha.
I need to learn it. But just to be able to understand more when I go to the farm again.
Yeah, that's
But
fair, yeah.
anyways, she came in and she was from Brazil and spoke Portuguese as well too. So that was pretty wild.
And anything came back?
Oh no, everything was fine.
Yeah, everything was
Absolutely.
fine,
I mean, because again, sourcing the right bean,
Right.
the right producer. Because I mean, Bruno doesn't. He hires somebody to. So the bean comes in and it's got the skin on it, even if it's dried naturally. Because we have on our farm we have two processes: natural process, which is on the concrete,
Okay.
where the sun, and then they actually have to turn it, with the rake. They walk back and forth with the rake. I have video for that. I'll show you
Yeah,
that
I'd love
too.
to see that, yeah.
And then the other process they have it's called a depulp or a honey process.
Right.
So they have a machine. They put the beans, fresh cherries in like a pool, and then they skim them off. The ones that float, that's the ones that go down first, because the other ones are too dense. So then they're not and they'll use them again eventually again because
Okay.
it's maybe the tail end of not the best quality coffee. I'm telling you, you
Yeah,
got to
this is
go.
I'll tell you right now, I would love to.
Yeah.
I'm about to get my passport because I would like to go to Japan at some point. I don't know
So,
if I will be able to, but go ahead. Yeah,
I will tell Bruno that Ben is on to go to Brazil.
Man, I would love to.
Oh,
that would be nuts. But so when you're talking about processing now,
So that process, so then you take they skim it off,
Yeah.
and then it goes down into a tube into a machine. So then that machine actually rips the skin off. So
That's honey.
Yeah, that's the honey wash process. So then it goes into the greenhouse.
Yeah.
So of course the patio is uncovered, and then that's where a lot of the micro lots and all the small farmers. It's just that's all they have. They don't
Yeah.
have a machine.
Right.
Again, the
Which-
cost.
Yeah,
So
and that's the natural process. And which one is the most? Yeah, which one's the most often? The most often you'll see
Natural.
mildew. is
Natural,
because it's
yeah.
not as
even the big
non-
farm that we went to, I talked about earlier.
Yeah.
It's crazy. They have acres and acres
Of drying,
of
wow.
just concrete and drying. But there was a couple of them that actually run. They have rakes, but they run motorcycle. The rakes are behind the motorcycles.
Do you have a video of that?
I do.
No.
So
So because they're so big,
they have to. They can't
there's-
cover it. They
wow.
can't.
So they're literally there's the concrete slab. I mean just
Concrete slab with
cherries everywhere.
cherries everywhere.
And then they're taking a motorcycle. And
They
they're
take a
going-
motorcycle and go back and forth.
This is so funny.
Yeah.
So, okay, all right, that's wild. Do you guys have you heard of the concept of co-fermentation? Have you heard of this? It's a new, I would say, experimental, but you guys might be interested in it because you'll be roasting there, which is different because you just have a lot more control over the process.
Sure.
Whereas, and I'll explain why. But essentially, it's during the fermentation.
Okay.
Process where I guess you would put yeast and whatnot. Well, yeah. So the co-fermentation would be you're either adding yeast or you're adding other fruit to
Okay.
ferment at the same
Actually, I
time.
think we just got some, but it was from another source, a supplier.
Okay.
Malabar, I think is what it's called.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've heard of that. Yeah,
But the
that's-
crazy thing
that's
is,
a
you
different
have to
one, right?
let it. We just roasted it, so you actually have to let it. And Cole was telling me about it because he just roasted it. But you have to let it like air degas for like a week or two.
Oh, interesting.
So
Oh, after
it's
you
still
roast it.
degas. Yes. So it's sitting. It's sitting in a. So we have a loose lid inside. It's of course it's in plastic.
Yeah.
And the loose lid on top of it, but it's still to where it can degas, and it has to. Because he researched it, and
Yeah.
a lot of different people that are talking about it. So
Yeah. So okay. So you
that
said
might be that
mal-
process. I don't
Well,
know.
I think it might be different, but I don't know for sure. 'Cause
Okay.
the only reason I say it is because it's funny enough. Have you been on ChatGPT? Have you been doing anything? So basically it's like an AI.
Okay.
essentially. But long story short, basically you can ask it whatever, and it searches the internet and has all this the database. It's a terrible explanation of it, but essentially
No, you're good.
It's as if you're talking to an AI. It's the most wild
Wow.
thing. and it's blown up. But I was using it because a lot of people are using it, just to ask funny questions or whatever, and some people are using it for research and whatnot. I'm trying to use it to learn, and the thing is, you can do it. You can ask questions, and then you can go further into. And so basically, it's Google, but with context.
Yeah.
To your situation.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's very So anyway,
I might need that.
Yeah. It's an app.
I'm not a reader. I'm not a reader at all,
It
man.
has the audio.
Nice.
And you can talk to it, and it's got a super realistic voice. And it's kind of freaky. But anyway, so I was on the phone and I was drinking coffee while I was driving, and I was talking to this AI about all the different processing methods. And one of them it mentioned was Malabar.
Nice.
I think I'm pronouncing it.
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah.
And essentially, what they do is it's on the coast of India, southeast coast. I want to say maybe it's the west coast, but essentially it's right off the ocean, so there's a lot of moisture, and it's the wind. And what they do?
Oh, it's hurricane.
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah,
that's
right,
it.
right,
Yes,
right.
yes.
And
So it let it sit out through the whole hurricane season. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. And so they'll have it covered, but it's open warehouse.
Yeah.
And so essentially the air will come through, and that causes a whole different flavor profile.
So once we pull it, we'll
please.
bring you some, or we'll have you down to We'll have you down to cup it. How about that?
Oh man, that would be a dream.
So we're always, and that's the
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
That's the thing that I told Cole, because I do the buying for other origins and stuff like that as well too. So
Okay.
again,
Interesting.
Bruno's blessed me to. They've been to Costa Rica, so we'll be doing direct from Costa Rica. Probably, I'm hoping by February.
Okay.
No secret. I mean, we've been trying to partner with this grower for a long time. We want to do a collaborative blend together. So Costa Rica and Brazil.
Yeah. Okay. So, and Brazil is known for more of the chocolate.
A chocolate,
right.
caramel, yeah.
And then Costa Rica on the other end is more for the acidic, the fruity.
Yeah, fruity, and sometimes I can actually get some. I use Costa Rica for part of the service blend, so I get some almonds, chocolate almonds with citrus. It's incredible. The cold brew from that's incredible. So.
Okay. All right, so how potent of a flavor of almond is it?
It's not. It's just subtle.
It's
It's subtle.
Yeah. So over at Old Bakery, they're brewing, and they're doing I don't know if I should say this, but they're doing an anniversary beer, and they wanted to do a what's the dessert? It's a tiramisu.
Oh, nice.
And so because we brew our cold brew there, they were like, hey, if you could do something with a cherry or almond.
So they can yours there too, or?
Well, so we make it.
Okay.
And we can it with them. We just use their equipment, but
Okay.
they also assist. I mean,
So what's
they're
the shelf
excellent.
life?
Yeah, so I'm gonna send it in.
Okay.
But I mean, it's pretty good. I mean, we pasteurize it.
Oh, so you do pasteurize
Yeah.
it.
Okay.
Okay.
And the reason is because you mentioned FDA, they've been cracking down across the country with cold brew.
Yeah.
Because cold brew is a method of coffee that's unusual from the other methods, which is it doesn't use hot water.
Sure.
And so it doesn't kill E. coli or botulism.
Gotcha.
And so if you want a shelf life past 7 days, you gotta.
It's got to be pasteurized. Sure.
And it's got to be pasteurized 185 degrees for 15 minutes. So it's pretty intense, but that kills all the E. coli and kills botulism.
But it also changes your flavor profile.
Well, that's the interesting part. Is I thought it would, but as long as you're filtering out the actual coffee before you pasteurize.
Okay.
So I mean, so naturally, yeah, there is going to be some coffee, just how like if you make a cold brew at the
So
bottom.
we need to talk more about that after.
Yeah.
So we really want to start canning ours as well.
Fair enough. Okay. Yeah.
So-
So essentially, So it doesn't change the flavor profile as long as you do a good job of filtering it out, so there's not coffee left in there. Because if there is coffee, essentially you're brewing it again.
Yeah.
And then what's going to happen is right around 160 degrees. And you guys know way more about this.
Sure.
But for cold brew, I've just been studying ChatGPT. I've just been studying it, but essentially at 160 degrees is when you start pulling out the coffee solubles that have a lot of the chlorogenic acid. So it starts to go rancid quicker, which is like most coffee.
Yeah.
That's why it's got after 2 hours, drip coffee kind of loses its flavor. It's stale. It's got a little acidity. But for cold brew, it doesn't have that. That's why it can last longer, and that's a really cool part. But so you can still have that as long as you strain out the coffee first, and you can heat it up.
See,